stay in school program. And what they did was high school students every summer had an opportunity for a job. It was almost like they were fast track for high school students. If they wanted a job, they got a job. So what that did was that motivated the kids, instead of hanging out the mall, swimming pool, just doing nothing during the summers, they had some work that they could do to keep them occupied.
Okay.
Now, so to answer your question is, that's government being involved with that young man's life, because that job is hands-on.
You supported some of you jobs programs.
Oh, I do.
Oh man, you about to get my vote now.
Oh, definitely.
I'm telling you, because that's what we need now. Congressman Butterfield, I hope he's out there listening, because you keep talking stuff like that, and that's what people know that our young people need.
Now, when you talk about, let's go back to education. Now, I'm a product of public school. Never went to these private high schools and all that. I mean, I went to public elementary, public middle school, public high school. So I understand what it's like when you're going to school with people from all over the community, not with certain people that can afford to get into that school. Now, these days, parents are working longer hours, later hours, and they're commuting farther to go to work. What I'd like to do is put together a program where students will have a after-school program with tutors that will help them with their homework, so that when they get home from school, after the after-school program, and that parent gets home from work, last thing you want to do as a mother or father, walk in the door, "Daddy, can you help me with my homework?" While you trying to fix some food, and you just want to sit down and relax because you had about an hour commute from work. So if there's a program out there that will help this student after work complete their homework, make sure the homework is done correctly, the parent gets home, what happens is the parent and the child can have that bonding time that they need, because that's lacking these days.
I remember those days, those summers, when we had green tobacco, brown tobacco, cucumbers, different jobs that young people could get during the summer.
Mm-hmm.
Those jobs vanished, and they have yet to be replaced with some type of program, and I think that's very, very necessary. When it comes down to government, do you believe, as Thomas Paine is famous for having said, the government that governs least governs best? Would you subscribe to that?
Well, when it deals with federal government, I believe that the federal government is needed, but the states should take charge in the local problems that are going on in each state.
Okay, that's so you believe you're a firm believer in states' rights.
Yeah, I mean, because if you look at it like this, I'll just use the state of North Carolina as an example. What you're dealing with in Greenville, Elizabeth City, are not the same problems that they're dealing with in Asheville, are not the same situations that they're dealing with in Charlotte, or the same problems that they're dealing with in Raleigh. Each area has their own problems they need to deal with: crime, traffic, education, pollution, jobs, healthcare, you name it. So that's a microcosm. So if you look at the entire United States, what's going on in New York is not affecting what's happening with folks in Richmond, Virginia, or over in Iowa somewhere. So what I'm saying is the federal government is definitely important on day-to-day activities with people, but the states need to make sure that they affect their citizens more than the federal government being in charge of everything.
But now, if I had a bill in here for every time you said something good, it would say ding, that I agree with, I would have ding you on that one, because that's a good point too, I believe, too, in states' rights. At the same time, I recognize, though, if the federal government hadn't stepped in, southern states probably would not have given in to the demands of the blacks.
Well, yeah, if you look at states' rights, how many states would be for the war in Afghanistan, how many states would be against the war in Afghanistan? So you can't say, okay, well, we're going to send over New York and Alabama and Washington to fight in Afghanistan. It's got to be an entire United States taking on.
Let me ask you this. It's 40 minutes now after the hour, ladies and gentlemen, and we're talking with Chad Larkins. He's a candidate for Congress for the 1st Congressional District. And he stopped by this morning. He's from Warren County. He, by way of Warren County, also lived in California, he's a Howard University. He's a Bison from Howard University. He also owns his own construction company, and he has very large construction deals.
And small. Small and
large. That's right. You don't want to leave that out. Have you been in the churches where the black churches?
No. I'm just trying to think that.
Black churches usually go and call white contractors anyway.
No.
That's an issue that I've been.
No. What I'm trying to say is we've only done 2 churches.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
So it hasn't. I mean, if you look at my resume of 2 churches. Period. Okay. They weren't a predominantly black congregation. They had black members, but they were not quote unquote black churches.
Let me ask you this on another issue. Chad Larkins, as you run for Congress.
Yes, sir.
Do you think that the government should require places, restaurants, to put on their menu how many calories a particular meal has? Or is that just too much government in your opinion? Or do you think that's the ideal role for government? That is, to look out for the people, to tell the people, say, look, here's how many calories, and watch your calories. I mean, to me, that's big government. That's too much government.
Well, you know how we do when we cook. We don't cook straight out the cookbook. So it's hard to tell you how many calories is going to be in one type of meal today, because it might not be the same tomorrow, because we cook by taste. Mm-hmm. So to answer your question is, now that will affect the type of food that's prepared, because now everything's going to be on a menu. 1 cup of this, 2 cups of that, half a pound of this, compared to, cooking the way we like to cook. Now, when I do go to a grocery store and shop, I'm getting a little older now, so I try to look at how much sodium is in something, how much sugar is in it.
You're making.
Correct.
You're doing it because the government is requiring it.
Right. Now I'll tell you something else that I really like that they're doing in grocery stores. In produce, it tells you where the fruits and vegetables are from.
Oh.
I really like that.
Why do you like that?
Because I try to buy American. So if I walk in and see some tomatoes that were grown in Guatemala and some tomatoes that were grown in California, which ones do you think I'm gonna pick up?
So you're a protectionist. You will buy American. You think people should buy American instead of buying foreign-made products or foreign-grown products as it relates to produce?
Yes.
So you're a protectionist.
I am.
And you think that's good for America? You think that's good government? And you think that's good for international relations?
I think that it is excellent for America, because if you're buying American, you're buying from Americans that are working in America. So that means you're keeping the jobs here in America.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you, it's refreshing to see a young man of your caliber to come along and to challenge the status quo.
Thank you.
To want to make a difference, to give us a choice. And as one person, I think you're a very viable choice. Congressman Butterfield is a friend of mine. Mm-hmm. He does not automatically have my vote for re-election. So it's an interesting twist this time around for us to take a look at what Chad Larkins has to offer.